It's Pappas. Yeah. When you all tucked up in the day belong, and the news online going on and on. What's right and wrong, and it's something up. Now here comes a great kid you know you can trust. From the true who's who to the news and cameras, to the fake politics and the propaganda. Yeah, this kid's screwed in, got a lot to say. Oh shit, it's about to be a long day. It's a long day. It's a long
What's
day.
up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Long Days, a special episode. We got a special guest. We got the King of Long Island. We got the man, Tim Dillon, in the building on the East Coast.
New York City would be nothing without Long Island. Let it be known.
Yeah.
Let it be known. It's really, people think it's the other way around, but it's not. Long Island is the thing. New York City is just a satellite.
That's not true.
That's your opinion.
That's not true.
There is no truth anymore. It's your opinion. Jared knows I'm right. I'm right.
Yeah, we got two Long Island, two Brooklyn kids here. We never thought about Long Island growing up.
Never.
It's like Canada to us. We didn't think about it.
Okay.
The only thing we thought about was
It's
like,
good because those are two places that people from Brooklyn can't afford to live. Canada and Long Island. It's good that you don't think about it.
There's a lot of dumps in Long Island.
Hey, man, for sure, but they serve a purpose,
Yeah.
right?
What is those purpose?
Somebody needs to make meth.
Is that purpose to keep Long Island people in Long Island, for them to rationalize why they like to
Well,
stay
George
in Long
Carlin
Island?
had that line where the poor are there to scare the shit out of the middle class.
Yeah.
You got to keep a little bit of, you got to keep a few problems.
Right.
Just to let people know how bad it can get.
Yeah, I almost think sometimes the middle upper class people of Long Island, maybe they fund MS-13 to scare themselves, so
Yeah.
they never leave Long Island.
The thing about Long Island is that it is, the people that live on Long Island are the stupidest people in the country.
What do you mean?
They're the dumbest. I've performed in Alabama. I performed in like all these places. There's something. Long Island is a very specific strain of dumb. They are confident hicks.
Yep.
They are hicks with the confidence level of like really cultured people.
Right.
And there's something about it that it's enviable in a way. Jerry Seinfeld in the movie Comedian goes, "How big do you have to be before they'll shut up?" Right. Talking about Long Island, then going, "It's really Alabama out here." Like, there's something about Long Island that it just breeds of the confident hick.
Case in point.
Yeah. But I escaped.
You got out.
I escaped.
Yeah.
And then I went back, but where I'm in Long Island is not really Long Island.
Right. Long Island is confident, boisterous, ethnic.
Yeah.
You got a hint of Jew in there. There's
Yeah.
bar mitzvahs. I always said, like, if you're a dad from Long Island, you're almost praying for a son the way the Spartans did.
Yeah.
Because if you have a daughter, you're in for a Sweet 16. You're in for a nose job.
Yeah.
There's a couple things you got to pay off. Wedding, Sweet
For
16,
sure.
nose job.
Long Island is it's a time capsule, meaning that it refuses to evolve in
Right.
any meaningful way.
And that's good or bad.
It has positives and negatives.
Bagels are great. They stayed the same.
Yeah, the food there is the best in the country.
Right.
Because if there wasn't, there would be riots. Like
Right.
people, it subdues the people. It keeps them kind of happy. But it refuses to evolve there. Like, Long Island is 10 to 20 years behind Manhattan
Right.
or any other major city in terms of, like, if you go to a restaurant or if you go anywhere, you look at it, you're like, whoa, this is dated. Long Island's in the early 2000s now.
It's true.
Yeah, they're in the early 2000s now.
It's true. When you go to restaurants in Long Island, like an Italian restaurant, it looks like a restaurant in Brooklyn before gentrification.
Yeah, it looks like a movie set
Yeah, it's like
that
a
they
movie set.
put
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Because Long Island, it's best explained this way.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people longing for a time when they weren't even alive.
Right.
They're longing for this era, that they're longing for the Rat Pack.
Right.
None of them were alive for that.
Right.
None of them have any connection to it. They're just longing for this like romanticized version of America that kind of never existed and certainly didn't exist in their world.
Right.
But it's a funny place.
Does the geography of Long Island have anything to do with the mentality
Yes,
of people?
because it allows people to appropriate the accomplishments of New York City and the magnitude of New York City and the importance of New York City, and it allows them to feel that they have some type of relationship to that, or that conveys some sense of legitimacy to them.
There's 9 million people back there. I didn't know that till a couple of years ago.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people in Long Island. 9 million.
Yeah.
And they're also like, there's 2 ways out, and those ways out are packed with traffic.
Yeah, and nobody takes them.
Nobody takes them. Is that part of why they stay there? Because Long Island almost feels like a disconnected island from Brooklyn and Queens. It's almost like...
Well, it's the first suburb, and I always explain it like this. It'll be the last. I mean, it's going to dig in and hold on to the racism, the hatred, the fear, the paranoia, the buffets, the fentanyl. Like, it's going to hold on. Every suburb will eventually look like Long Island. Like Austin, have your fun. Have your fun. Like all these things that are on the come up.
Yeah.
Like my Coconut Grove, have your fun. Eventually, at the end of the run, instead of these green leafy suburbs that they start out with, you're going to have track housing, buffets, and fentanyl. That is how it all inevitably ends, because the comfort will corrupt.
Yeah.
Everybody gets fat and happy.
Yeah.
Everybody, Long Island's the only place in the world you could just get a job from your mother's friend. And you could stamp like, pool passes for $70,000 a year at the rec center.
Right.
And like, these are, and then have a separate dark web kiddie porn business, like on the side. Like, you could work it all around. Like, these places are all going to eventually end up Long Island, a very ugly place. There's beauty, but it's very few and far between, and it costs more and more and more money now because the majority of it is ugly. It's true. It's consumerism run rampant, fear, paranoia. It's ugly.
Yeah, they sit there, they watch Fox News, and
they're angry, and they're waiting for MS-13 to climb in a window, and they're waiting because that's what keeps them going, is fear.
Yeah. In Long Island, it almost seems like everyone has some sort of criminal slant in addition to their... Is there a doctor or a nurse on Long Island who is not reselling pills on the black market somehow?
Everybody wants to get ahead.
Yeah.
You're exposed to a lot of different classes of people at a young age. So you see really wealthy people, you see a lot of middle class people, you see some poor people, but your value system is very material based. Cars, houses, swimming pools. Are you on the water or not? Are you in a beach club?
You're on the water, no, it's a big one. Water, that's a big one on the water, right? Yeah.
But all of these class distinctions are available to you at a young age. If you grew up in where Shane Gillis grew up, in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, you don't have that, right? Mm-hmm. You have one town with a pretty uniform thing. Maybe you have a few rich people or not. But Long Island, you have this strata of wealth that you can look at, and you basically go, I want to do anything to get a jet ski. I don't care what it is. I don't care who I have to kill. I don't care what I have to do to just grab a jet ski.
So that's why
it's a lot of people.
So people turn to crime a little bit to get ahead.
Yeah, well, they turn to trying to figure a way around the system, a way around school. That's why I went into mortgages and failed because I wasn't good at it.
Right.
But the thinking was, fuck school. Right. I'm going to go around the system and get a Range Rover my way.
Right.
And that's everybody, I think, in Long Island, there's a little bit of that. They go, I want to go around the system and try to get what's coming to me.
That explains it. That's a great that really explains it. Because in Long Island you have steroids. Yeah. A lot of steroids you can buy in Long Island. A lot of pills can be bought in Long Island. Did you hear about those 2 nurses who were making the fake vax cards? I think they made $900,000, which also meant that there was a huge market for people who wanted fake
massive.
So people are always looking to find a way around that. You'll see like a doctor, but he also has a pizza shop.
Do you think that, Jared? Do you agree with that a little bit as a guy that grew up there?
Yeah. There's always a way around it, because I think the foundation of being successful in Long Island is what you see your parents do, and that's like a lot of union jobs and stuff like that. So the pinnacle is like, I need to cut that, because I got a lot of friends now that got union jobs. They think they're successful. Right. Like my friend Mike, he wakes up, works at the water department, puts on the Carhartt, motherfucker thinks he's Warren Buffett.
Right.
So it's like when you cut to the top, where he's like, I got it, I don't got to work for it because I see my parents doing that every day. So it's like, by any means necessary.
It's by any means necessary.
What's the racial thing going on over there? Is it like across the tracks? How does it work in Long Island? Like,
well, I mean, Long Island, Long Island has a very ugly history of blockbusting, of redlining.
Robert Moses making the bridges.
I mean, Robert Moses. It's an ugly history.
There's big racism there.
I would say it's probably up there with I'm talking about. It's probably top 5 in America, most racist place.
You feel it.
I mean,
you feel it.
You would know better than me, but it's legit. It's it doesn't take a backseat to anyone in terms of racism.
No,
it's a racist place.
Right.
Yeah.
You were talking to me like, oh, you're from Long Island because we went to a restaurant and the service was slow.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, you're from Long Island. You have a laid back culture. I'm like, no, dude. I pay attention to that because I'm black, and if you're not coming to my table, I think it's because of the color of my skin.
That's right.
Right.
So I always gotta have that in the back of my head.
Right. Yeah. So is there another side of the tracks? Is it by neighborhood? How does it work?
I think it's by neighborhood. What they did was real estate agents were intimidated when they would go show a black family a home.
Mm-hmm.
They were threatened. There was horrible harassment that black families would experience. And there were also a lot of the GI Bill loans that were available to white families were not available to black families, so they couldn't have the same access to credit, to funding, to buy houses, and to get that type of foothold in those communities. So
Jared's brother and father are cops.
Yeah.
Do they ever go a little extra hard? Does your parents ever do they go a little extra hard? Like if they pulled me or Tim over, they're like, you know what? He's from Long Island. They make us walk the line. You guys been drinking, sober for 15 years, but they still make you do it.
I mean,
I would if I was black. I would have a little fun. Because, it's always it seems like it's always white cops.
I have black friends that say black cops are more racist sometimes than white cops because they feel they have to be.
Two blacks?
Yes.
Really?
Sometimes that's what I've heard from, again, I have no experience with it. Yeah. From black friends of mine said sometimes a black cop will be more of a dick. Sometimes.
You gotta prove yourself.
To prove yourself.
Yeah, it's like being a female pilot.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some dick cops.
I look at Long Island and I go, I drove around for years, high, drunk, through really wealthy neighborhoods. No black kid could have done that without at least feeling like they were vulnerable. Right. We never felt like that.
Right.
We used to just get high, pile into cars and go look at Christmas lights. I mean, we drive in driveways of $20 million mansions.
You do that now, yeah.
You do it now.
Yeah.
It's part of what... The thing about being a white guy, you can't be on HBO anymore. That's fine. You can drive around anywhere in the country that you want and look at the pretty houses. And that's what we did. There's no way a black kid could have went, you know what? How about this? Let's all pile in the house. Let's pile in the car. Yeah. Let's get high and let's go see the estates. You can't. There's no way. So anybody that's like, white privilege is a myth, it's like, not really.
Yeah, because we
get a joint. Get my car. I'll show you it's not a myth.
It's scary rolling through white neighborhoods, dog.
Yeah,
I'm rolling in the windows bumping Beethoven.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's true. We've talked about because he
and I bump rap.
Yeah, he does bump rap.
Yeah, I just blast rap music with these glasses.
We were talking about it because Jared works for Amazon. And we were talking about when he roll. Yeah, when you roll, you better. When you're black and you're an Amazon delivery guy in Long Island, you better have Amazon everywhere,
tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah, and be playing Journey out of the car or Neil Diamond or something. Just something very, very friendly.
And the thing about the Long Island racist is it's not even educated racist.
Right.
They didn't read much.
Right.
There's racists now that have done their work.
Right.
They're really in it.
Yeah.
Long Island, it's just a fear-driven culture.
Just get out of here.
So they're racist against...
I want you out of here.
It's Jews, Persians, black people, Hispanic people, different kinds of white people. There are people on the North Shore that hate Irish people. It's just fear and hatred.
Right. A lot of fear.
A lot of fear.
This is what I love about Tim.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Tim. And I didn't know that's a Long Island thing.
Yeah.
A lot of you is Long Island.
Oh, for
Long
sure.
Island made you.
100%.
Yeah. So what Tim will do is whenever me and Tim are hanging out, whether it be in L.A., Austin, wherever we go, he loves to he's like, let's go see the estates.
Yeah.
And he used to drive. Can I say the car you were driving?
Yeah.
He had Cameron's car.
Yeah.
When he picked me up at the airport, I thought Cameron, the rapper, was picking me up.
I had a Range Rover, red seats, TVs
in the back, red leather. What do you call it? Bleeding on the interior?
Yeah, bloody interior.
Bloody interior.
Yeah.
And then we just go, and he's like, "You want to see Sandra Bullock's house?" And then we pull into Sandra Bullock's house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't know if you could be doing that." He goes, "You can do it. We can do it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, what was she gonna do?
Yeah, it's like they got the cameras, big deal. We're fucking driving.
I mean, she pulls me over and I appreciate the home and what you've done.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, we pull into all these driveways where you know you're not really allowed to go.
I've just always been curious about how people live.
Yeah.
I'm always curious about
what's
how
this energy
live.
thing? Because you're saying, like, you've always been curious. You were a guy. I remember, like, your Patreon started cooking a little bit.
Yeah.
Even before it got big, you were a guy who was like, you like to live. And that's what I love about you.
I like to live. So the energy thing is just, you got to have fun with, no matter how much money you have.
Yeah.
You got to have fun. You can't be panicked.
Yeah.
My parents come from this horrible boomer scarcity mentality where they take food home from restaurants. They'll scoop like mashed potatoes into a coffee cup and bring it into the car. It's so demoralizing because what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
There's gonna be more potatoes.
Right.
Like, but this fear of like, nope, the mac and cheese, bring it home.
Yeah.
Like this poverty mentality, scarcity mentality that a lot of people have where they like hold on every dollar. I've never done that. I'd rather work harder and spend more money. I like giving shit to people.
Yeah.
I like taking people out. I like having fun. I'd rather do that and work harder than die with a bunch of money in the bank.
Yeah,
what does that do?
You're here for a couple decades. You got to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you're making money, have fun with it.
And I think that part of that...
And you do.
I do. Yeah, we have fun. Part of the energy, I think, is that if you put that out into the world, a lot of times good things will happen. Not always, but a lot of times, like, if you put that energy out there...
Yeah.
Like, I have a nice apartment in Los Angeles, and people go, well, why do you have a nice apartment? You don't really use it. You're on the road a lot. I go, yeah, but why? But if I have people over, why do I want to live in a dump?
Right.
I can have it.
Right.
I've lived in a dump. I'm 37. I lived in a dump the majority of my life.
Yeah.
All of the good years.
Yeah.
All of the really good years were in a dump.
Yeah.
I've got a few years left. Why not have them somewhere nice? You mean truly, like, you know, what do you get? 60, 70? At that point, the game's over.
Yeah.
We're in the 40s. I'm 37. Like, you start saying to yourself, years you have left, you spent a lot of time getting here.
Yeah.
You might as well have fun. I lived, and you know where I lived.
Yeah.
You know whom I lived with.
Yeah.
You know the situation I was in.
Yeah.
And they were... not what you'd call nice.
Yeah, no, it was
I've
not
had
what you
bed
call
bugs multiple times. I've had leaks. I'd wake up because a leak got me. I'd wake up to water from the,
Yeah.
You know?
No, but yeah, like I was saying, you were a guy who, when you got just a little bit, you would spend it to go stay at a fancy hotel.
Yeah, every now and then I would take a break and just go do a nice night in a hotel to just know what it felt like.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, cool. Okay, and then I would go back to horror for 6 months.
Now, were you doing that to feel the energy of what it's like to be able to afford that spot?
I think I was doing it to go...
Or just having
a
good
time.
You know
what? We kind of like... We look at... we've undervalued... I think in our society, we've undervalued being authentically... like selfish, and we've undervalued it. No, truly.
Yeah.
Like authentically.
I feel like I just showed up to an Ayn Rand club and I'm listening.
Here's the deal. We've put a ton of value in wrapping your selfishness in these altruistic things. The Ukraine, it's about you.
Yeah.
It's not about the Ukraine. It's about you.
Right.
You didn't know what the Ukraine was 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Being selfish is our nature. It doesn't mean we should only be selfish.
Right.
But if we ignore that part of us, go, I want a nice thing.
Yeah.
I want to experience a nice thing. Yeah. If you ignore that, and then what you do is that'll never go away. So you just start to wrap it up in other things where you are just, half of the people that you see online being whatever you want to call it, virtuous or whatever, they're doing it for likes, for attention, for clout. Because they want a thing, and that thing is attention.
Right.
But they've wrapped it and they're packaging it in this idea that they care about whatever the issue of the day is.
Selfish people don't do as much harm as altruistic people.
That's right.
Either. The ones that scare me are the ones that are going like, do you want paradise?
Yeah, the ones that say like, hey, I've got the answers.
Yeah, I've got the answers.
If you listen to me and my friends, everything will work out. You just got to listen to us.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to have to shut down all your accounts and shut you up for a while until you come and, do whatever type of, mea culpa you have to do and self-flagellate and do whatever.
Yeah, by definition, a selfish person doesn't really harm you because they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about them. So the only harm they really do is only to themselves eventually.
Yeah, I think people should want things. They should not be embarrassed about wanting things.
Right.
They should not hurt other people to get those things.
Right.
They should not, although some do.
Yeah.
They should not be corrupt, evil people to get those things.
Unless there's a really good way.
Unless those things are really nice.
And unless the method is...
If the things
you
are
can get away with
really nice, then... It's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
But I would go stay in a hotel every now and then because I go, I want to feel what this feels like because it's a good feeling.
Right.
It's a good feeling. And if you don't think it's a good feeling to be in a nice place that costs a lot of money to be there, you're crazy.
Yeah, if you don't think flying across the coast to the West Coast in Delta on the bed feels good.
That feels better.
It feels good.
Doesn't mean it's the greatest thing in the world, but it's better than Coach.
It's better.
You ever see that Cher thing she did where she goes, I've been old and young, young is better. I've been rich and poor, rich is better. I've been in love and single, in love's better. Like, she just does this very honest breakdown of like, I've been this and that. I've been famous, I've been not famous, famous is better. Like, she's just honest about it.
Now, when are you going to write, because you told me you were going to write, your next thing you're going to write is Tim Dillon's Key to Success, the Tim Dillon Secret or something like that, where you tell people the mentality, because that book would be fucking hilarious. Well, I would buy that immediately if you wrote a book.
I was writing a book. I was
Tim Dillon's Secret.
I was in the process of writing a book like that, and it was called Cancel Your Family, where all these people want to cancel. But the way to success really, truly is to get away from everyone that you know and everyone, unless they're successful.
Right.
But the way to be really successful is to pretend that you're an orphan and get away from every person you've ever met and all history that you have. Remake and reinvent yourself as a completely different person. But not a lot of people want to do that.
Right. A lot of
it's painful.
That takes a lot of imagination, a lot of what other people would consider phoniness, but really it's creativity.
Well, really it's you either look around at the area that you grew up and the people you grew up with and want to be there or not.
Right.
It's simple. You either want to be there or not. So your goal in life is to replicate that life or to have nothing to do with it.
Right.
That's one of the two lives.
Right.
That's one of the two goals, to either replicate that life or to have another life.
It's simple.
And
like
it's
that.
simple. It's simple. There's people that grow up and go, not that you have to hate your parents, or your parents are probably lovely, but like my parents.
But that helps.
My parents fought about money. They lived paycheck to paycheck. They did not do things they loved. They had jobs they did not like. They were Long Island miserable boomers. That's what they were. And I didn't want to be that.
Right.
So I said, I'll risk being broke to come out on the other end not living that life.
Right.
Which is, to me, was a miserable life. To do a job you hate and live in this part of Long Island and not love anything about what you're doing.
Hate is an underestimated motivator,
it's great.
Yeah. It is. Like, because you hated it so much, you would risk poverty to get away from it.
It was even worse than hating it. It was boring.
Right. You hate boring.
Boring is worse than hating.
Right.
Hating actually fills you with something. It animates you. You can kind of live somewhere you hate and make the most of it.
Yeah.
You get bored. When I hated Austin, I could live there.
Right.
The minute I started to get bored with my own hatred of it, I had to leave. Truly, because I got bored. It was fun to hate it for a while. I hate them. I drive around. They suck. That restaurant's horrible. Come on, I got to show you how bad it is.
Right.
And then eventually I got to a point where I'm like, I got to go. I'm bored by my own Hate.
Hate is not the worst thing because there's passion there.
Yeah.
People say be passionate. If you hate, you have passion. And it's not the opposite of love. The opposite of love is apathy.
Yeah.
Boredom.
Indifference.
Yeah, that's the opposite.
So that's
of love.
the thing about it where I looked around at my upbringing in Long Island, which I loved. As a kid, I loved growing up in Long Island. I hated the idea of remaining in Long Island and living in Long Island. I loved the idea of growing up there. It was a great place to grow up.
Right.
To have all those formative experiences, it was a cool spot.
Now, let's say you started comedy.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's say it didn't work out. Who is the Tim Dillon?
Oh, I mean, it's a good question.
Yeah. What do you do now? What's it?
Sales, not great. Not a lot of money. $500,000 a year in sales.
Yeah.
Because I don't really love it.
Yeah.
And maybe on
you go back to the island? What do you do? In the city?
Florida.
Why Florida?
Florida's free money.
Free money.
It's free money.
Yeah.
Florida's the area where the wild must go.
Yeah.
You know? So I think I'd probably go to Florida.
Florida's the place you go after a divorce or if...
A lot of the mortgage guys I used to work with are down in Florida.
They're in Florida.
Yeah, Florida's where you go. Florida's where you go, though it's the end.
Right.
You got to be very careful. I almost bought something in Miami and then I didn't. But I decided I don't want to do it because Florida is the end.
Interesting. Why?
You don't come back from Florida. Ever, mentally. You can never live in Florida and then come back. Like you've mentally never came back from Florida.
I was there a year.
You're never mentally back from Florida.
I'm still there.
It's a disease. It's cancer. It's in remission. It's in remission, but it'll never fully leave you.
Interesting.
It's a very powerful state.
Vietnam.
It is very.
It is Vietnam.
And when you live there, you actually start to look very Florida.
Yeah, your thoughts, your ideas,
yeah.
Everything starts happening.
Yeah.
It just...
Something about
every now and then you sit down and you don't even know how it happened, but Tucker Carlson's on the screen. You know why? You lived in Florida for a year.
Right.
It's just going to happen.
Right.
You could look at your tweets and somebody go, that guy's lived in Florida. There's no diagnose it. It's diagnosable. Like, oh, were you in like a doctor could look at you and go, okay, did you have a bad fall?
Yeah.
Somebody could look at your tweets and go, that man's lived in Florida.
Right.
Because Florida's freedom.
Yeah.
And you're free.
Yeah. I always look
You're free, and that's a little bit of a problem, but like that freedom comes from you left New York, you'll fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to live in Miami. I'm free, and that never leaves you.
Yeah, it's true. And Florida's an interesting place. I always felt like the Northeast is like America's brain.
Yeah.
Right? Then Florida's like America's penis.
Okay.
And then like Texas is America's balls.
Yeah.
And then like the Midwest is their stomach. And then the West Coast is the mental illness.
No.
No? What do you think?
I think that, again, you're making the West Coast too interesting. No, really, like in that analogy, you're giving the West Coast way too much.
I just think of Hollywood, I think of Whitney Cummings, I think of mental illness.
It's boring, but it's all boring. That's what you're missing. It's actually not, it's actually all just boring.
It's America's ass.
It's not even that. It's just America's, it's a pretty face.
Right.
The West Coast is a pretty face, a nice bone structure.
So it's America's vanity.
Yeah, it's nice hair.
But that's not boring. Hotness is not boring.
It is after a while.
After a little while.
It is after you come.
Yeah, but if you can come multiple times.
Yeah, but then you got to stop coming eventually, and then it's boring again.
Yeah.
My point is that in that scenario, I think you give the West Coast too much credit. I mean, I'd love some schizophrenia in LA. There isn't any.
Yeah.
What there is a lot of people pretending to be schizophrenic because they think it's a good brand.
Right.
It's a real difference.
Right.
My mother's a genuine schizophrenic.
Genuine.
She's not in HBO, Chris Gethard. So here's the thing. The reality is, don't edit that out, I'll sue you. Yeah. But the whole thing is, she's legitimately ill.
Right.
So,
there's no glamour to mental illness.
My mother was never like, let's build a career out of having pretend mental illness. She's literally in trouble.
Right.
So that's why I'm very sensitive to people who have appropriated mental illness as their brand.
Yeah, because there's nothing really fun about it.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing marketable about it.
No.
There's very little marketable about genuine mental illness.
Right.
Truly.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about it or express it in your art or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I see people's Twitter handles like I'm Anxiety Man 52, like I just think it's a little crass. It's a little crass.
Yeah. You should have to at least be on a medication to be mentally illness.
Well, the way I think of it, you shouldn't diagnose yourself off Instagram.
Right. Guys, you know how important mental health is for you, for me. I use this service. I go to therapy. I take care of my mental health. It's the most important thing. We're talking about Cerebral. It's an online mental health service that offers prescription medication, counseling, and therapy for anxiety, depression, ADHD, insomnia, and more. It's really convenient and really takes the hassle and the stigma out of mental health services and counseling. It's always a pain in the butt to find a counselor to go. This happens right on your phone, which is actually the way I do it now, and it's great. And you have to check out Cerebral. Simone Biles is the chief impact officer here. She's really brought this issue to the forefront. She goes through it, and it's really taking the shame out of it. People like Kevin Love on the Cleveland Cavaliers is talking about it. Everyone's talking about it, and it's really good. Life is hard, and we all have problems. So really, really go check out Cerebral. Affordable treatments that are 1/3 the price of traditional therapy. There's treatment options that are available with or without insurance. So it's very affordable, and it varies. It's in-network for several insurances, and they're working every day to grow their partnerships. But even if you're out of network, they'll provide you with the necessary paperwork so you can easily submit a claim. 50% off of Cerebral's clinicians 50% of Cerebral's clinicians self-identify as people of color. So it's important to Cerebral to have the diversity that matches the population, so everyone can get the treatment they deserve based on who they want to see. So you can match with the therapist, then change therapists. You set your appointments where it's convenient to for you. It's absolutely amazing. So go download this app, man. This is what you do. Cerebral.com/fumes. That's where you go. Cerebral.com/fumes. And what you get is 65% off your first month. That's just a total of $30 to get started with Cerebral. Join Cerebral today on their mission to make quality mental health care accessible and affordable for all. This is absolutely incredible, guys. I want you to go to Cerebral. Take care of yourself. It'll better your life. It will better your headspace and will make you more successful in all the endeavors that you are undertaking in your life. It's just, it is of paramount importance. So thank you, Cerebral, and I hope you guys go sign up. Cerebral.com/fumes. It needs to come from a psychiatrist.
Yeah, just having a mother who's genuinely schizophrenic.
When did that start? How did you guys start to know that she was schizophrenic?
She was talking about people following her when I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
So she was thinking that people were following her. She thought that her life was this grand story where one of her uncles was maybe famous and like nobody knew, or there was like, she started to involve, or now that America's caught up with her where she could run for Congress now. She's now everything she says is completely something that would have been
people are going
said.
like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I think they are following
a lot of
you.
sense. Yeah. But she started having paranoid ideations when I was in 8th grade.
You know, it's interesting. My best friend growing up right now, he's going through some unfortunate times, but his mom, when we were little, said that she was Cleopatra reincarnated, and he was Mark
That's
Anthony.
a sign. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she would
That's what we call a red flag.
Yeah, and then she would show me a secret language that she said she could write. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that.
Yeah, and so she would, and then I would say, can I see it? And she would do it, and it was just scribble. And but she's living an interesting life in that reality. Like your mom, if people are following her, why don't we just let those people live those? Your mom thinks she's 007. I mean, that's a funner life than anything.
The problem is that it's progressive.
It gets worse and worse.
It gets worse.
Right.
Now, I don't know if it's gotten worse for that woman. I don't know. But
she passed away, but I mean,
right.
She also used substances.
What happens is it gets progressively worse. They become afraid of you.
Right. That's where it gets bad.
They start having, problems like you're the issue.
She was pretty functioning towards the end. She was and it was weird because otherwise she was pretty normal. And then she would say, "Oh yeah, I'm Cleopatra reincarnated," And that would
my mother would say things like, maybe I think Elvis was my biological father. You know, and she'd go, if you look at where my mother was on a trip and where Elvis's tour was, they were together, you know, and my grandmother was like, thank you for, you know, you're implying that I'm fucked Elvis and didn't tell anyone. But again, that's real mental illness.
Yeah.
You know, nobody at, you know, Peacock is trying to get my mother to do a show.
Right.
There may be something to that.
So you're saying that Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
Or the gymnast having a little twisties or
well, here's the deal: if you don't want to do your, and I have a joke about it in my act, a gymnast. But if you don't want to do your thing, fine. What am I? Yeah, it's dangerous. You don't want to do it. Is it funny that you dropped out of the Olympics? Absolutely. Am I going to make fun of it? Yes. I'm making fun of it because people are like, "That's what a real I mean, it's like I'm going to make fun of it. Osaka just didn't want to do interviews.
Right.
That's stupid.
Right.
That has nothing to do with mental illness. In my estimation, just cancel the tournament. Well, if you're mentally ill, you don't do the tournament.
Right.
You don't pick and choose, you know?
Right. Yeah, she didn't want to do interviews unless they were interviews of her in her bikini that she could post on her Instagram.
Yeah, whatever it was, athletes also are dumb by their nature. They're not intelligent people. They're not supposed to be.
Right.
They're becoming mentally ill because we're telling them they're supposed to be fully sentient human beings. Right. They're actually not. They're supposed to throw balls and hoops, do flips, jump around. They're not supposed to be intelligent.
Right.
It's absolutely true.
You're a big sports fan.
Well, no, but I don't, whether I am or not, the vast majority of athletes are not intelligent.
Right.
It's absolutely true.
Football players are actually...
No.
You got to learn a lot of plays. And
what?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Listen, it's physical, and your intelligence is all to make your body do certain things.
Have you ever sat down with Terrell Owens and talked about geopolitical issues? The guy's, he's selling a candle right now.
Yeah. Here's what I'm saying. It's athletics. Why are we making it just be an athlete?
Right.
Be an athlete.
Right. So what did you think about that whole thing? You think they were being dramatic a little bit?
Actors are not smart.
Right.
Is this new?
No, they're not.
Is this new?
Right.
I'm sorry. Am I bursting anyone's bubble here?
Wait.
Smart people are ignored in our society as they should be.
They are, yeah.
They're locked in rooms. They're fucking their students. They're grotesque, ugly for the most part, nerdy people that are ignored and put away. Athletes, actors, people like that, they're not leading with their brain. That's not what they're doing.
Do you think actors are smarter or more virtuous? Which is a more salient?
Good actors don't exist. Here's what I mean.
Right.
I know some actors that are pretty decent actors. They don't exist.
Right.
You sit down with them at lunch. They are not there. They try on 3 personalities in the span of the lunch.
Yeah.
They don't know who they are. And there isn't a them for them to be, which is why they're so damn good at act. Robert De Niro doesn't exist.
Right.
He's not real. It's not a real thing. So he goes into these things and he's brilliant at what he does, but you would have dinner with him and go, that sucked. Yeah. Why? Because it's not real.
Right. It's not a real person.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is when they tweet virtue and stuff like that, that's not real? Is that an act?
That's a personality they're trying on today.
Right.
Today, they're political guy.
Right.
I'm political guy today.
Yeah.
You better watch out, Putin. And then tomorrow, they'll be like, I'm party guy.
Yeah.
I'm party guy. And then I care about trans people guy. And then they're just, I'm hot guy. You see that? You ever see that transition?
Yeah.
From I care about trans people in the Ukraine to, it's my cock. It's a transition. So they go from one to one. They just it keeps it fun.
Because ultimately the motivation, are you saying ultimately the motivation is for attention for them? So whatever they're trying on.
The only thing.
Right. The only thing like how did they get to where they are? Did all the actors who tweet all the virtuous stuff, did they get to where they are by walking in rooms talking about how they needed to change the culture for the better?
No. They got there by having a severe addiction to self. An untreatable addiction to themselves, which is how they got good. We got good at comedy by doing comedy 3 or 4 times a night.
Right.
Were we ever at the Bowery Mission?
Right.
No, we were at the Bowery doing spots.
Right.
Nobody was at the Bowery Mission scooping baked beans into a cup.
Now, why
now people can lie and then go, well, we should have been. Fair point, maybe, but we weren't.
Right. Why has it become that nobody wants to admit that? Why has it become that everyone is so scared, as you said at the outset of this, to say, I care about me? What's so wrong about that?
Because the social capital doesn't reside with that. The social capital resides with people who pretend to care for others. And all they care about is social capital. So it would be like one bank closing down and the other bank opening and going, well, why doesn't anyone go to that bank anymore? Everybody loved it. In fact, that bank's the one that made everybody rich.
Yeah.
You go, well, that bank closed down. We got a new bank.
Right.
And then eventually that bank will close down and they'll open another bank and then everybody will go there. It's just basically what you have to do.
Here's a good tip for people if you're trying to question whether somebody's really good or not. The best people usually don't really talk about it that much. They just do. They just do good things. They're not making sure you know about all the things that they're doing all the time. Whenever anyone's doing that, that usually
It's never been easier
for them.
It's never been easier to be a good person.
You just
never been
tweet.
easier. Just send out a tweet.
Send out a tweet.
Put out an Instagram.
Use your platform for good.
It's never been easier to be a good person.
Yeah.
It's never been easier to be a bad person.
Right.
You did the wrong thing. We found a tweet, found a thing. We can cast you aside and say you are a bad person because of something we didn't like.
Right.
So it's never been easier to be good. It's never been easier to be bad. We can just write you off or we can make you a king.
But the thing about Leonardo DiCaprio, he cares about the environment. He goes so far as to when he travels only on foot and by horse, and things like that.
Well, here's
so
the thing
how
about
can people be more like
here's
Leo?
The thing, we all care about the environment. This idea that people hate the environment.
Right.
Have you ever seen anyone hate the environment?
No.
Okay, no one doesn't care about the environment. Here's what people can't do. They can't pay $9 for a gallon of gas because their lives will be destroyed.
Unless you're Stephen Colbert and it's no sweat off your back.
So people, it's always like this binary between people who care about the environment or people who don't. No, it's how much can you personally sacrifice at any given time for anything? You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and batteries are not like this.
Like the Ukraine, everybody goes, we're going to do the no-fly zone. I go, no. Are you mentally ill? Do you know what a no-fly zone is? A NATO no-fly zone? That'll bring us into direct conflict with Russia, a nuclear power, because we would have to enforce the no-fly zone. Well, how do we enforce it? Shooting down Russian aircraft. Yeah. Well, what do you think happens?
Right.
And by the way, I think these sanctions are crazy too, because we're making a guy desperate. You don't want your enemy broke.
Put him in a corner.
We're putting him in a corner. We're putting Putin in a place where he's going to go, all right, so we ain't got nothing. The economy's exploded, so guess what? Let's really hit the Ukraine.
I have to say, I kind of agree with Hillary on this.
What did she say?
Hillary just was sending out this sort of this message when she was talking on one of those Sunday shows, Meet the Press or whatever.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm hoping the people around him see
but that's
how dangerous
stupid,
what he's
but
doing.
It's stupid too.
How do you deal with a guy like this?
You ignore it. Turn off the TV. No one cared about the fucking Ukraine. They only care because they're white. That is a fact.
Yeah.
That's literally the truth. And I know you may disagree with that, but did you give a shit about Yemen? Did you care about the brown kids in Yemen? You don't.
No.
You care about them because you could imagine them coming to dinner at your house. That's really why you care. You ignore it. Turn the fucking TV off.
Yeah.
That's how you deal with
it.
Turn it off.
This one has a little bit more nuclear war implications than Yemen.
Yeah, if we keep fucking with him, stop fucking with him.
Yeah.
Let him do what he wants.
But do you
God sucks.
You don't think he's going to keep going, though, and keep going?
And let him.
Let him go.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Who? Are you going to go to nuclear war for Estonia?
No.
You going to go to nuclear war for Latvia?
No.
What of those countries do you want to see your family incinerated for? Let me know.
I just can't even believe
he ain't coming here. He ain't coming to Vermont.
No. I can't believe
if another power did what we did to him, which was create an alliance. If Putin created an alliance with Mexico and put missiles in Mexico, we would flip the fuck out.
Yeah.
So the reality is, yes, he shouldn't keep going. He's a psychopath. He's a madman. The people that are cheering him on are insane. The people that think he's some force for good in the world are insane. But real politics, be rational. Here's the reality. I want a summer. And we need cheap gas.
So does Joe Behar needs a summer sale.
We need a summer. That's what we need. So let's cut the shit. Let's stop pretending that we give a fuck. We don't. Stop pretending.
Yeah, I mean, do you applaud what she said? Because she was just like, hey, man, is this going to affect my summer?
It's hilarious. She has no self-awareness, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But here's the reality. What are we prepared to do? What are we going to do? What are we really going to do? They have, 100 nuclear warheads? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I'm good. I think what he's doing is bad. I think what Saudi Arabia is doing in Yemen is bad. I think what Israel's done in the left bank is really bad. I don't think that's good. I don't think how Palestinians live is good.
Wait, I don't mind what they did in the left bank.
Well, whatever it was. The
West Bank is
the West Bank, whatever it is. I don't know. Left bank is what, Paris?
I just wanted to point out how much you cared about it.
But this is my whole point is this. Let's stop pretending that it's this is a thing.
But what about Sean Penn? He's there, boots on the ground.
That's our chance.
That's our shot.
That's our shot.
He's there.
Yeah.
So is Brittany Grenier. She's in Russia. Can we get them to talk to Putin and work?
We might have to.
Yeah.
We might have. I feel bad what's going on. I had a Ukrainian comedian on. This shit sucks. Yeah. I feel bad. I donated $5,000 in Bitcoin to the Ukrainians. What do you want me to do? Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. What do you want me to do?
They could buy some weapons with that, right?
Hey,
are there some Web3 weapons companies that would accept Bitcoin right now?
I hope.
Lockheed Martin has to have a wing for the future for Web3.
I hope.
Yeah.
That they 3D print some ghost guns and but I also think, and let me say something very controversial right now.
Yeah.
Because I want you to get views. Ukraine peaked too early. Ukraine peaked too early.
Yeah.
They peaked too early. Good narratives, you have to pay attention to narratives. They peaked very early and everybody's like, Russia's getting bogged down. Russia's done. Russia's not going to be able to do it. Now all of us, whether we admit it or not, we're all rooting a little bit for Russia because Ukraine just got too much of a pop early on. And that's not the way the movie, like to Zelensky and look at this. And we're in the beginning, we're like, yeah, Ukraine, but we're like, but that didn't build. It was just too quick, too shoved on. So now we're sitting back and we're looking at Putin and he's isolated. And, Pizza Hut won't do business there anymore. And we feel a little bad for him. We feel a little bit for him. Yes, he's killing babies. Blue, blue. But we look at him and we feel, because he's got a little kind of a duck face. And he's sitting there and and we're saying to ourselves, I
can relate to that guy. I've been down.
Yes.
I've been down.
You've been down.
I've been shunned.
I don't want them to be humiliated.
Right.
I don't want Russia to be humiliated. Can I say that? Can I say that I don't think it's good for anyone if Russia's humiliated? The Soviet anthem is the most beautiful piece of music that has ever been. I want this on a compilation of pro-Russia people so he can get views.
I mean, who hasn't felt shut out? Who hasn't felt ostracized?
I go to the gym and sometimes I'm like, it's like hard, and I'm like, this is what Russia feels like right now. They didn't anticipate the amount of resistance.
Right.
And to me, I go, it would be easy for me to just go, yes, I agree in principle with the Ukraine, because I do. Right. I agree in principle with self-determination, democracy. But let's also get to a deeper level, more guttural, more animalistic, dare say more reptilian. Right. I feel slightly for Russia now, because the Ukraine, they've been jamming it down our throats so much. The cock is so down your throat. Zelensky's a hero. Okay. I didn't know who he was a week ago. Right. He's God. Right. And you go, he's out on the front lines. You go, well, no, he's not. He's the president. Why is he on the front lines? Who would want him on the front lines? No. Well, they're all pictures, but shut up.
I always say that.
They go, yeah, he's all pictures, but shut up. Yeah. So it's been so much that it's causing this weird little backlash now, where I feel myself
identifying with Putin.
Identifying with Putin. He's like the new kid at school.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he's
Zelensky. I mean, yeah. If he's on the front lines, he's bringing his barber with him.
Anytime
because
Hollywood,
he's got a fresh shape up every week.
Anytime Hollywood has just become a cringe fest. Anytime they fully get involved, I just, it's just a knee jerk, but everybody starts going, this is cringe.
Right.
This is cringe.
I mean, listen, what BIPOC person out there hasn't felt shut out, shunned by Hollywood, opportunity taken away? That's what they're doing to Putin right now. They just took away McDonald's from his country.
I just feel like I'm looking at him and I'm looking at them and I'm going, again, I didn't think about any of this until 2 weeks ago, so bear with me. My opinions are fluid, like my gender. I sometimes I feel very strongly about the Ukraine. Like I wake up and sometimes I go, I think the Ukraine should win. But then sometimes by lunch I go, I don't think so anymore. I think Putin should kill all of them.
Right.
And then by dinner I go, maybe we should do a deal.
Right.
But I just float. I'm very fluid. And I think that's the approach here. It's not to commit.
Right.
It's really just kind of fluid.
You're not gender fluid. You're more war fluid.
Yeah, I'm more fluid because I think that the U.S. ruling class is like, let's just make it Syria for 10 years.
Right.
We'll give you a bunch of weapons. Just fight it out. Raytheon will make $1 billion.
Is the ideal profession for you, if it wasn't comedian, double agent?
No, because it's too hard.
Right.
It's too hard.
Wouldn't that be fun, though, to kind of...
It's not because you can't tell anyone you're a double agent.
Right.
That's the part that I couldn't do. Why do all of that and then not be able to...
There's that old expression like...
Because everyone just thinks you're a loser, you're a bookkeeper, you're cleaning up the shop, but you're really an assassin. But what's the point? It's a specific kind of person that can do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, there's that old expression, what's the point of the perfect crime if nobody knows you committed it?
That's a great point.
Yeah. That's tough.
It's hard.
You get no recognition because if you get away with it, you get no recognition.
That's right.
Is that ultimately why people self-destruct? Is because they want that recognition for whatever heist they pulled off? Like whether it be conscious or unconscious.
I think perhaps.
They want to, like every serial killer, if he just didn't write a dumb note to the cops, maybe he'd get away with it, but then nobody would know it was him. And that's the whole point. He's doing it in the first place.
Did you see the Batman?
I did see the Batman.
It's great.
It's really good.
It's really good. Paul Dano is great.
Yeah.
As the Riddler. Mm-hmm. And at the end, he's like, he wants the recognition.
Right.
He's like, I want, because up until he does this stuff at the end, I won't do spoilers, but like, you kind of agree with him. You're like, oh, he's kind of taking out some corrupt people. And then at the end, you're like, oh, this is bad.
Right.
Can't do this.
Yeah. Right.
But at the end, he wants the recognition. He wants the Batman to appreciate what he's done. And
it's really funny because none of us matter in the grand scheme, but we all desperately want to matter for a little amount of time.
Well, we're the only human beings that know that life is finite, right? We're the only life forms that know it's ending. Bunnies don't know.
Right.
The car just goes.
If they did know, they'd be a little bit more theatrical.
Who knows what they do? Yeah. But like, we're the only people that really have a grasp of it. I mean, elephants kind of know. Smarter animals might have a little clue.
Yeah. That's why they're dramatic.
Yeah. But like with us, people want to make their mark.
Right. Everyone wants to make their mark, even though it ultimately gets erased.
Yeah, and right now we just live in a world where truth has been murdered. It's been like completely destroyed. And we're living in an era where people are manifesting their own realities, and we're all just manifesting our own realities, and that's why we have this digital realm that will allow us to do that. And that's why it's going to get more and more dystopian, because nobody's going to come back together again, because we don't have to. We're going to just further splinter into other realities where like your reality and my reality might have nothing to do with Jared's reality or Jesse's reality and or whoever. I'm using examples. Like everybody's reality is going to be completely different. You're going to somebody's living in a reality right now where Trump is still the president.
Right.
And that's their reality. It's true to them.
Right. They believe it. He should
true
be in
to them. He's still the president. No, not even that he should be. That he is.
That he is.
That it's a secret thing that he's calling the shots.
Well, that's a fun reality.
It's great. There are people that believe Sandy Hook didn't happen. There's people that believe. Everybody has a reality they choose to live in.
Now, you donated some money to the Ukraine.
5,000
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So your donation was Web3. Is there any way to broker a deal between Putin and Zelensky? And
you got to give Putin Donbass. You got to give him Donbass. You got to give him the other one. You got to give him those two things he wants.
Donbass and Donbass.
Donbass and whatever.
Donbass and Donbass.
Whatever it is.
Crimea.
He has Crimea already.
Yeah, he's got that.
Give him that.
Yeah, that's where the oil
is. And then say you won't join NATO and you won't join the EU. You're not going to join any blocks.
What if we say, fellas, enough of this real world fighting? Let's take it to the future. Let's take this war to Web 3.
Well, this is what Putin is
Put
seeing.
your Googles on and let's get in the metaverse.
Putin is seeing he's getting a little bogged down because he didn't have a content strategy. What he should have done. It's true. It's true. Because look at Ukraine. Zelensky's out there like, I'm God.
Yeah.
And the West is eating it up.
Right.
Putin did not have a strategy.
Right.
He didn't have unboxing videos. He didn't have TikToks. He didn't have any strategy on YouTube. He didn't have any real good PR strategy. I mean, literally, they are losing the information war, and they could be winning the information war, or at least, making headway, but they're not doing anything.
How do we get Putin on Rogan to tell his side of the story?
I've called Joe personally and said, please have him on.
Yeah, to tell his side.
I want to sit next to him like when I did Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I want to sit next to Putin. And then Putin will just turn around and poke me every now and then.
Yeah.
And I'll go, and Putin will go,
yeah, there is the mainstream narrative out there, but I'd love to hear from the other side.
Well, here's the deal. It's a war.
Yeah.
It's a war.
Yeah.
So Putin's got the narrative. You go, yeah, you put missiles here.
Yeah.
I told you they're not joining NATO. Yeah, am I a psychopath? Yeah, but this is what it is. And they're just, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
and you listen, and I listen. You can agree or disagree with it. It doesn't really matter. It's a war, right? I don't agree that he invaded a country, but I'm saying that's what he feels.
Right.
That's his thing.
Right.
He feels like the Ukraine's always been theirs.
Right.
It's never really been apart from them, and he goes, this is the way I feel. I feel that the 2014 thing where Yanukovych was thrown out was a CIA-backed coup. Zelensky's a puppet of America. It is what it is. Now, a lot of people in Ukraine want Western shit. They want to be Western.
That's what they want, yeah.
That's what they want. And some of them don't, like maybe Donbass, some of the old hardliners don't. But Putin's whole deal is like, listen, I
don't want that.
I'm not into that.
I don't care what you want. The Ukraine needs to recognize it's not really about what they want. They are more of a buffer between two powers that want separate things. And nobody cares about what you want.
They get a little weird in the Ukraine. They don't love the blacks. They do it with a little CK a little too much.
Yeah.
So they're
also
not
very corrupt. It's been very corrupt.
Yeah, it's. What do you think this is, Vermont? Let's cut it out here.
Yeah.
Let's cut it out. So Putin needs to have a content strategy, digital strategy, some war NFTs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think if he released the war in clips as opposed to?
Yes, because no one watches the hour.
Nobody's going to watch the whole thing.
Nobody watches the hour. I think the war has to be released in clips.
Right.
The bombing has to be released in clips on Instagram.
And his perspective.
Andrew Schultz should just go over and tell Putin how to do it.
Just do it.
He should sit down with him and break down why he's failing.
He should, yeah. And he's obviously going with the strategy of Nazis everywhere. We're gonna denazify Ukraine,
and we're going with the strategy of there's no Nazis, and the truth is in the middle,
right?
Because there's some Nazis.
They have a Nazi battalion,
but it doesn't mean that. And so do we probably. I mean, who's in our middle? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that it's again. It's all the way you want to look. It's really just your perception. Yeah. It's just your perception.
Right.
It's really just the way you want to look at it.
And war makes for strange bedfellows. So a lot of people probably didn't like that Nazi battalion until they had to kill some commies.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? We don't really care what's on your book reading list at this point.
Hey,
we'll overlook the books you're reading.
Whatever it is, it is. Yeah. If the goal is to make sense out of everything in life, you've already lost.
Yeah.
You've already lost.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
If the goal is to make sense out of these things, you've already lost.
Because you won't make sense out of it.
Never.
Right.
You'll never truly you can arrange the world in a way that makes you feel better, but the histories of these countries are so deep and complex and long, and the relationships that we have with any given leader at any given time, and all the things that have been on the table that are not on the table, the broad strokes of this doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what's really going on. And you can just say, hey, women and children are being killed. That is fucking horrible. And men, everyone. It's horrible. But it's horrible in Yemen. It's horrible in Palestine. It's horrible in Iraq. It's horrible in Syria. It's horrible when a fifth grader in Pakistan goes play soccer and Obama drones him, but he's cool, and Obama, is cool and goes on the Tonight Show. We say that's cool. And Putin doesn't go on the Tonight Show. So let's cut this shit. Let's be real. And I'll see everybody in the Hamptons. Because I've had enough of the bullshit. I've had enough of the fake cock virtue crap. We're all demons from hell, and that's what we are. So you can either enjoy it and have a fucking soft shell crab sandwich, or you can fucking keep going on Twitter and putting your pussy out there and hoping that you and Zelensky get a fucking show on Netflix. I don't care. Are we trending yet or not? I'm trying to help him.
Here's my final question. A lot of similarities have been made, but what are the key differences between
me and Amy Schumer? None physically.
Right.
Mentally, I believe she's Jewish. No, are we on pace to do better than the last episode?
No, I was going to say, what are the key differences between you and Amy Schumer, and what are the key differences between Putin and Emma Stone?
So Emma Stone is a fat bitch who's attractive but is low-key fat,
right,
and goes to all the best restaurants in LA, and a lot of times, like, for whatever reason, me and her have been in a restaurant and she gives me dirty looks because, like, sometimes she's gotten a table that I wanted or whatever. She's just but she's a very interesting person, and she's low-key fat even though she's not. And she's the difference. Emma Stone, I don't know much about the difference between Ellen and Putin.
Right. Okay.
Let me say
because a lot of similarities have been made, but what are the key differences?
The key difference between Ellen and Putin is, I believe, down deep somewhere you can find goodness in Putin.
There you have it.
TimDillonComedy.com, live dates.
Thank you. Please check out his show. A lot of you don't know about it.
Tim Dillon Show.
It's a growing show.
It's in Moscow.
Would you take a deal from a Russian company that offered you money?
Well, not now. They have no money.
Okay, how about Ukrainian?
No, they're going to get pillaged.
They're going to get pillaged. So right now it's just Substack.
China!
China, yes!
Yeah.
Yes, we always say it. China, we are willing to hear you out.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Always take a meeting with China.
Always, yes. Especially if you're selling an apartment, they pay cash.
That's right.
They might even pay cash. They may give you the 20 mil that you want in cash.
Love it.
That's the only ones who could do it.
Love the Han Chinese.
Zheng Shui. My Greek brother, John Mikas. This is a small business shout out to you, man. Freaking cold spring water is the bomb in recyclable aluminum bottles. We just got our shipment from you. We're going to have them all over the studio. It's incredible, guys. I need you guys to start to get rid of your Poland Springs, get rid of all your plastic bottled water. First of all, it's colder because it's in the metal bottle. And it's absolutely delicious. Freaking cold spring water is from the ancient Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia. The water is crisp and clean tasting. It really is. It comes in a recycled aluminum can. Almost all new aluminum comes from China. Mm-hmm. So let's reuse what's already here. Stays colder longer because of the bottle, like I said, and it comes with this screw cap that you can refill and reuse. I mean, the bottles are incredible. Freaking cold, baby. They don't want to just be another water company. It wants to be the water company. We're going to make it the water company of the LongDay's crew. The Cyclops cult, long haulers, the fetaverse. This is the water we're going to be drinking from now on. It's cheaper, it's better for the environment, and the water is colder, and it is damn crisp. The company, the plastics are out of the equation here, which is why Jesse loves it. You were on board when you heard about that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, it's so good. So go to freakingcoldspringwater.com. They deliver you a full thing. So you can just keep re-upping instead of the Poland Springs. That's what we're doing at my house right now, is we're just getting rid of the Poland Springs. I hate that. And then there's bottles all over the place. You can even reuse these. I refill. So go to freakingcoldspringwater.com. Like I said, they give a percentage of their profit to conservation organizations. I love this, man. So go right now, order your water for your crib. This is your new water company. Let's support the environment. Let's support America and small business. Guys, our next small business shout out, I'm equally as excited as I told you, Brooklyn Cannery. You have to check out these sodas. They're all natural. They're sweetened with like like a concoction of monk fruit or stevia, a little stevia, and
natural
these
sweeteners. Yeah.
Natural sweeteners, no added sugar. They range from like 20-something calories to like 41 calories, depending on the soda. The key lime jalapeno is banging. The cola amaretto is banging. My full fridge is stocked with these things. You order them right on their website, brooklyncannery.com. That is Brooklyn, CANNERY.com. Go right now, fill your man cave, fill your fridge with these delicious natural sodas that are not bad for you. They're also prebiotic, which means they're good for your gut. I mean, I could not love a company more. I am so thrilled. I'm drinking too many. I've had two a day since I've gotten my stock. So go stock up and just buy them in bulk. And the party you have or when you have friends over, you'll impress the hell out of them. BrooklynCannery.com. Go order your sodas right now. And if you're in the New York City area, I want to give a shout out to my boy Nicola Ragusa, Dr. Ragusa. He gives you the LASIK eye surgery. So if you're in New York and you listen to Long Days, go to OCNY. And right now, OCNYEYE.com. OCNYI.com. Tell them you're a Long Days fan. Mention my name. You'll get 10% off your LASIK. So if you're thinking about getting LASIK and you live in the New York City area, go right now to that website. Set your appointment. Mention my name. And of course, Longshore Coffee. This is what I envisioned when we started this small business shout out, is like companies that I am absolutely passionate about. Longshore Coffee is amazing. Now it's my coffee. It's what I drink. I just got my new one. It's a new dark roast. Let's see what it's called. All right. The other one was the Boss Babe. Mm-hmm. But now he's got me on the dark slide Java blend. So the roast date's right there. They roast this right there in Providence, Rhode Island. Go to longshorecoffee.com. You go to checkout. You put the promo code FUMES in. You get 15% off. This is your new coffee company. Pick the roast you like. It's absolutely incredible. Tastes good. Go to Longshore Coffee. If you got a Keurig in your house, kill it. Shoot it in the backyard. You should not be ingesting those heated up plastics. It's bad for you. Get yourself a drip machine so you're not like a real, squeak, and get Longshore. Then we got NateLinder.com. We were supposed to do a phone call with Nate. We're going to do it next week. NateLinder.com is your social media manager. Go strategize with him. Consult with him. He'll kick your social media game to the next level. We're going to use him for Long Days. Mm-hmm. So NateLinder.com. You know the deal. Check him out. Take your social media game to heights you never knew was possible. With Nate Linder, Chris Minetti, one of my personal favorites, of course. You got to go. Look, you can even travel. Why not? If you want to miss, Chris Minetti's like a celebrity on the show. Yep. So even if you want to travel, even if you don't live in the South Jersey or Philly area, go visit Chris by calling him at 215-750-3730 and go get your check cash. There's no website. There's no social media. There's a phone number. And that's it. He will cash your check at Minetti Financial Services. Then thebronxbrand.com. Me and Jared have bought stuff from there. Go support artists from the Bronx. Buy something. Beautiful original art, beautiful original t-shirt with beautiful prints on them. Always support thebronxbrand.com. Also, promo code FUMES for 10 or 15% off. I can't remember. Promo code FUMES. 15% off. You know, it's funny. When I bought it, I forgot to put the promo code in. I think I told you that. Did you put the promo code in?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So bronxbrand.com. And they got such a beautiful original art up there. Support the home of hip-hop with the Bronx. Now we have...
Is this a new one? What is this?
Yeah.
It's a wild name. Look at this name.
Yeah, I'm looking to promote my company. All right, our next newest small business sponsor is promoting a self-produced short film. It's a short film called Prevail. So you got to check out his short film. It can be viewed on YouTube. The link he gave us, so I don't know. I'll figure out a way to post it. But go check out Prevail on YouTube. It's self-funded, so he's offering a pay-what-you-can platform. Oh, so I got to post the link somehow. To view the full short film. It'll be in the description of this episode. So just go, pay what you can, support the kid, watch his movie. What's the movie about? It's a Black Mirror type cautionary tale. I'm going to check it out. I love Black Mirror. So I'm going to check this out, and I'm going to pay. Support this kid. Go watch his movie. The link is right here in the description below. So go take a peek and, pay what you can and check out Prevail. Completely self-funded. I bet you it's good. Hollywood's not making anything. I bet you Prevail's good. We'll see. If it's shit, it's shit. I won't say it if it's shit because he's paying me, but we will watch it. Aaron Leaf, my guy. I love Aaron Leaf. forthefree.us. It's all things music from Hawaii. You want to find out about local bands, about local concerts, anything. If you're going to Hawaii or if you're a huge music fan, go to forthefree.us and check out all these local bands and their music from Hawaii. Hawaii. How do you pronounce Hawaii? Hawaii. forthefree.us, Aaron Leaf. And then, of course, exclusiveautoshipping.com. If you're moving your car anywhere in the world, in the country, go get your free quote at exclusiveautoshipping.com with our boy, Jared Z. All right, we want to welcome our newest long haulers, patreon.com/Yanni LongDays. These guys support and listen to the bonus episode every week. They get that premium content. Love for you to go over, support the show, and also support your Long Days habit by getting an extra episode. Last week's I thought was one of our best on the Ukraine, so go check that out. So let's welcome Zach. Let's welcome Veronica. Let's welcome Wyatt Stafford. That's a wild name. Mm-hmm. Let's welcome Matthew. What is that? Khaled?
Khaled.
Matthew Khalid or Khaled? Welcome, Matthew. Connor Sturgill. Long Dick with Yanni Long Goat. Yanni Long Dick with Yanni Long Goat.
Yannis Long Goat.
Yannis Long Goat. Long Dick with Yannis Long Goat. Then we got Aaron Walker, Jay Rutherford, HZ Films. They got themselves a shout out.
Yep.
Screwed in kids. Nicholas Bagnell. Nicholas Bagnell. Kevin
Duhan.
Kevin Duhan, Summer Rogers, Ben Smith, Stephanie Gonzalez, Joseph Benedicto. Then we got Morgan Durfield, Greg Combs, Brandon Kansley, Christian Langley, Robert Wolf, Shibi Babu. Welcome, Shibi Babu. It sounds like a teddy bear's name. Like you get your daughter, Shibi Babu. Then we got Todd. What's that?
Sikorsky?
Todd Sikorsky, Polak. Then we got Kieran DeLong. Then we got Declan Wood, Wilt Wickman, Justin, Cuckface Italian, Dominic Bondar. Cuckface Italian, Dominic Bondar. Five-timer. And then we got Ace Spades, Will Rusk, Steve. What's this? Itashi?
Itkashi?
JP Kaxer, Sean. Then we got Woke When I Was Broke. Makes sense. Woke people usually are broke. Then we have Richard K. Oglesby. He sounds like a very rich kid. Mm-hmm. So patreon.com/Yanni LongDays. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed this Tim Dillon episode.
It's been a long